Hello, teachers. Welcome to Professional Education Coaching number 5. If you are new to my channel, I am Teacher Jazz. And today, kagaya na nasa title page, we're going to talk about professional education. Yes, magsasagot tayo ng mga questions about Prof Ed. At before tayo magsimula, bibigyan muna kita ng tip on how you can ace the licensure examination for teachers. Alam ko, G ka na i-ace yan, makapasa dyan, or mag-top dyan. Pero itong tip na ibibigay ko sa iyo is actually a very, very obvious tip. Pero ito yung usual tip na na-overlook ng ating mga teachers at also nalilimutan nila, and that is to actually rest. Rest. 'Di ba? Take quick breaks or long breaks if you need to. So, unwind, teachers, kasi alam kong you are such in a hurry to get that license. At sino ba namang hindi? Or sino ba namang may ayaw ng lisensya, tama? So, every after work mo, alam kong dumidiretso ka na sa pagre-review or in between review sessions, parang hirap ka nang mag-take ng break. Pero ang sinasabi ko lang sa'yo, teacher, is to actually put premium on your body. Okay? To rest. Kasi if ever man na hindi ka magre-rest after ng long day mo sa work, tapos pagod na pagod ka, tapos nag-try ka pa rin mag-review kasi gusto mo na lang matapos to, di ba? For the sake na gusto mong matapos to. So, medyo mahihirapan ka doon kasi you really have to learn what you reviewed today, tomorrow. Ulitin mo na naman siya kasi walang papasok sa isip mo, di ba? E di, sayang lang yung oras. So, if you try to rest muna a bit, 'di ba? So it will save you so much time, effort, what else? Your learning capacity will be greater, and lastly, it will save your body from exhaustion. So huwag kang masyadong magpapakapagod, just do your best, pero put premium pa rin sa rest. Okay, teachers? And by the way, teachers, if you want more tips and test-taking techniques, as in test-taking techniques, no? I'm inviting you to join our Sulit Prof and Gen Ed online let review. So, kung isa kang teacher na hindi mo alam kung paano sasagutan ng isang tanong, na totally hindi mo alam yung item, even the questions and also the choices, then I'm inviting you to join our Sulit Prof and Gen Ed online let review kasi we have a session here for test-taking techniques. Kung isa kang teacher na hindi mo talaga alam yung sagot dyan, hindi mo alam kung paano yan lusutan, at kung isa kang teacher na madaling malito sa questions, then this one is for you. So, let's improve your test-taking techniques and at the same time, the drills and also content. Okay po? So, just check the description box or the comment section. Nakapin naman yung comment sa link or yung comment ng link, 'di ba? Nakapin naman yan dyan. So, just click the link, tapos madediretso ka na sa instructions and sa inclusions na ating Sulit Prof and Janet online let review. So, hoping to see you sa ating sessions na ito. Okay? So, ayan po. Before tayo mag-start, by the way, ito, instructions lang natin for this session. You just really have to answer the questions. If first time mo dito, I'll be giving you 10 seconds to answer each question. Pero you need to pause, or if you need to pause this video halfway, you can do so. Lalo na if you want to buy time or need mo talaga siya na i-digest pa yung question. And our golden rule is to learn and enjoy. And lastly, of course, kung bago kang viewer ni Teacher Jazz, explain ko to sa'yo, your let review season isn't all about getting tama or mali. Instead, kasi pag ito yung mindset mo, medyo made-demotivate ka. Instead, it's either you getting the correct answer or you learning from that item. Kasi pag inisip mo na, ala, mali na naman ako, mag-domino effect na yan, sabihin mo, babagsak ka na naman sa drills, etc. Pero if you try to see it in a positive side, di ba? Or using a positive lens, it's between you getting the correct answer or learning from that test item. Tapos magkakaroon ka na ng growth mindset na, during my let review season, hindi ako magiging masyadong harsh sa sarili ko. Kasi alam mo yon, natututo naman ako in every session, in every drill na hindi ko nakukuha yung tamang sagot. Pero on the day of the licensure examination for teachers, on the day, ang meron na dyan na idea is tama or mali. But during your let review season, kayang-kaya mo pa rin yung bawiin kada item na natututo ka. Kayang-kaya mo yung bawiin bukas. Okay po? So, i-motivate talaga natin yung sarili natin. Anyway, sino pa bang mag-motivate sa atin kundi yung sarili lang talaga natin? 'Di ba? So, let ourselves be our greatest motivators during let review season. Okay? And then, eto na, number one tayo. Basahin ko yung question, tapos kayo na bahala magbasa sa choices, 10 seconds to answer. Okay po? Number one, men are built, not born. This quotation by John Watson states that, is it letter A, B, C, or D? 10 seconds, go. Number one natin, eto teacher. I-digest muna natin tong question na to. Actually, when we're talking about this, tong quotation na to, men are built, not born. Ano kaya yung N versus N na concept natin na marirelate dyan. Paki-comment nga po sa comment section kung ano yon, tapos balikan natin to ha. So ayan, bibigyan ko kayo ng time to comment it sa comment section. And then, this quotation by John Watson. Sino naman po kaya si John Watson, teacher? Sino kaya si John Watson? Kanino kaya siya popular or ano yung theory niya na popular siya? It's letter B, of course, it's behaviorism, di ba? Basta si John Watson, it's behaviorism. Ngayon, teacher, kung behaviorism yan, iisipin mo na yan kagad. Yung men are built, not born. Ano bang meron sa behaviorism? Tama, conditioning. Now, if we are affected by conditioning, therefore, there are environmental factors. Tama? Or we are conditioned by the environment, or we are conditioned by someone who tries to condition us. And so, men are built, not born is talking about the nature versus nurture concept. O, tingnan mga teacher kung tama ka dyan sa nature versus nurture concept. My question now is ano kaya to? Is this talking about nature or is this talking about nurture? Of course, it's talking about nurture. Now, if we are talking about nurture, 'di ba? So it's letter B, environmental stimulation on a person's development. Kasi it's men are built, not born. So ito, napakadaling question lang natin, or napakadaling question lang na kayang-kaya mong sagutan kasi this is just a mere interpretation na question, but we really have to dissect its quest or each question kasi nga, alam mo yon, marami siyang natutukoy dyan, oh, John Watson, yung mga concept natin dyan, kasi in professional education, minsan yung concepts na nasa STEM, nakatago lang yan dyan. So you really need to dissect the STEM in order for you to fully understand the question, especially kung litong-lito ka na, teacher. Okay? So that's a technique. So if you want more techniques, sali na kayo dun sa Sulit Prof and Janet online let review natin. Okay? So ayan tayo. Number 2 naman tayo, which will be the most authentic assessment tool for an instructional objective on working with and relating to people? Is it letter A, B, C, or D? 10 seconds once again. Go. Ang sabi dito, teachers, we're going to talk about most authentic assessment tool for an instructional objective on working with and relating to people. Now, we will be having at least three criteria in answering this one. Kung nalilito ka. First criterion is most. Tapos, realistic. And then working with people. Okay? We will be having three criteria. Ngayon, ang conducting mock election. So, mamaya natin sagutan yung most ha. Dito muna tayo sa realistic and also working with people. Ang conducting mock election, is this realistic? Pwede, but it's still a simulation. So, medyo, ano tayo dyan, 50-50, tama? It's still a simulation kasi it's mock election. Mock election. Tama? And then next one, working with people. Of course, this works with people. Kasi nga kasama niyo yung mga tao. May mock election na nangyayari, di ba? Working with people. Yan, in reality. Now, writing articles on working and relating to people. Is this realistic? Yes, kasi you will definitely write articles. Okay? Write article. So if you are an English teacher tasking the student to write an article or assuming or making the students assume that they are journalists or social workers, 'di ba? So medyo pwede-pwede 'yan. Konti, pwede-pwede. So lagyan na rin natin siya ng check kasi kind of realistic din siya. Next one, working with people. Ngayon, question ko sa'yo, teacher. Does this question really work with people in reality? Do you immerse yourself in this one? Or do you immerse yourself in the people? No, right? So, X na natin yan. Next one tayo, teachers. Home visitation. Kung home visitation yan, ito, realistic. Tama? So, it's realistic. And working with people, of course, who will you visit at home? So, it's people as well. 'Di ba? So, it's working with people. Ngayon, organizing a community project, realistic and at the same time working with people. Ngayon, meron tayong dalawang i-cross out, which is yung letter A at letter B. Kasi ito, mock election lang naman. So, tanggalin na natin tong letter A at letter B. Kasi hindi siya pasok sa mga criteria natin. Meron siyang isang criterion na binagsak. Ngayon, between letter C at letter D, tanong ko sa'yo, teacher, dito na tayo magbabase sa isang criterion natin. Most or more. Ano kaya dyan? Home visitation or organizing a community project? What do you think? Yung mas nakaka-relate ka with people, yung mas marami kang na-reach out, of course, it's letter D, organizing a community project. Okay, teacher? So, gano'n ka magsasagot ng question? I know, para sa ibang teachers, medyo madali itong sagutan kasi parang ang obvious naman ng tanong, di ba? Pero para sa mga teachers na sobrang nalilito at nako-confuse kung ano ba talaga ang sagot dito. So, ganun ka magsasagot. Try to divide the STEM, tong question na to, into different criterion or criteria. Gawin mong criteria yung keywords mo, tapos mag-check ka dyan, tingnan mo, gumawa ka ng checklist sa isip mo. Tingnan mo kung saan siya mas pasok. Tapos kung saan siya pinakapasok, edi yun yung piliin mo. Okay, teacher? So, ganun ka magsasagot, lalo na kapag ikaw ay nalilito. Okay? Next one. Number three po tayo. Mrs. Aguas narrates, I observe that when there is an English-speaking foreigner in class, more often than not, his classmates perceive him to be superior. To which Filipino trait does this point? Very obvious. Kahit hindi ka mag-keywords teacher, kahit unang basa mo pa lang, mabilis mo siyang masasagutan, mabilis ka makaka-move on sa question number three, it's colonial mentality. Ngayon, magbigay tayo ng other concepts. Ngayon, ang sabi dito, more often than not, his classmates perceive him to be superior kapag may English-speaking foreigner. Ngayon, in general education or in professional education, lumalabas din siya. Ang tawag dito, kapag tinitingnan mo yung other countries, yung mga foreigners na mas mataas sa'yo, 'di ba? It's letter X. Paki-comment nga po sa comment section if you know this term. It's letter X. Paki-comment nga po kung ano 'yan. Tapos kung ang tinitingnan mo naman ay ang sarili mo, ang Filipino, pagiging Pinoy mo ay mas mataas, superior sa ibang lahi, we're talking about this one. It's letter E. So, paki-comment nga po. Bigyan ko kayo ng ilang segundo to comment that one. So, ayan. Ngayon, reveal na natin siya. Yung letter X natin, xenocentrism. Centrism. Next one, yung letter E, kapag tinitingnan mo yung Pinoy ay mas mataas, ikaw ay mas mataas sa ibang lahi, it's ethnocentrism. Coach, nalilito ako dito, or Teacher Jazz, nalilito ako dito, how can I easily remember this one? Yung 'di ba, seno or sino, tandaan mo lang, it's sino. Ibig sabihin, sinong mas angat, sino ang mas maganda, sino ang mas superior? Of course, the other country. Sino? Or you're talking about sino. You're not talking about yourself. And ethno, gawin nating analogy to, 'di ba, from the word itself, ethno, ethnic. So, ibig sabihin, atin, tama? So, ethnic, kung ano yung sariling atin? Ethnic. So, yun. And then again, the centrism, center. So, you see this one as someone, or you see the foreigners as the center of being superior. You see yourself, your nation as the center of being superior. Okay, so wag malilito between xenocentrism and also ethnocentrism. Next, number four, which of these activities is not appealing to the bodily kinesthetic learner? So ito, medyo pwede kang malito, pero if nalilito ka, dissect natin siya maigi. Okay, after 10 seconds. Number four, ang sabi dito, teacher, not appealing to the bodily kinesthetic learners. By the way, tanong ko sa'yo, before tayo sagutin or before natin to sagutin, sino mga nagpauso nito mga intelligences na to? It's letter H and also letter G. Sino po yan? Si Howard Gardner. Okay? Gardner. So, ayan. At ang kanyang theory ay letter M at letter I. It's multiple intelligences theory. At kapag tinanong sa'yo sa professional education, ano ang pangsyam na multiple intelligence. Yung huling na dagdag, of course, we're talking about existentialism. Tinatanong po yan, teacher ha, don't forget that one. Kasi baka mamaya tanongin sa'yo yun sa professional education kasi in reality, tinatanong talaga siya. It's existentialism. Siya yung pangsyam. Actually, walo lang yan, pero naging siyam siya kasi sa existentialism. And when we are talking about existentialism, parang yan yung nasa philosophy din ng professional education, mga ism-ism na yan. When we're talking about existentialism, we're talking about existence. Okay? Your choice. Or, alam mo yun, magaling ka sa, matalino ka when it comes to your existence. Now, the question is bodily kinesthetic learner. So sabihin mo sa akin, teacher, just medyo mahirap yan sagutin kasi lahat naman yan ay gumagalaw. Pero may isa dyan na gumagalaw but not in a bodily kinesthetic way. It's sketching and illustrating events. Kasi ito, talagang bodily kinesthetic, you are doing or you are using your body to learn. Now, sketching and illustrating events, you're actually using your body, but it's only a part, which is your hand. 'Di ba? And then, you're trying to sketch or illustrate events. And this belongs to the, anong intelligence to? Spatial. or visual spatial intelligence. Yung mga magagaling sa landscaping, yung mga magagaling sa mga illustration, 'di ba? Sa drawing, sketching, visual spatial yung tawag dyan. Okay, teachers, don't forget that one. So, ayan. Number 5. In the KWL technique, K stands for what the pupil already knows, W for what he wants to know, and letter L for what he, obvious question, but you still need to answer this one 10 seconds. Of course, ang letter L natin is learned. Ngayon, ano ba ang usually na, or ano kaya dito yung mga confusion ng teacher? Ang KWL chart is a form of AFL. Ano po yung AFL, Coach, Teacher Jazz? It's assessment for learning. And when we are talking about assessment for learning, we're going to talk about formative assessments. Ngayon, ang common confusion ng let reviews is tuwing kailan ba ginagawa yung formative assessment kasi Teacher Just ang sabi dun sa isang drill na nasagutan ko dun sa isang question na nasagutan ko sabi before lang daw siya sabi during lang daw siya sabi naman before and during pero in reality teacher let's refer to the Department Order number 8 series 2015 tingnan natin yan ha this is from Department of Education itself. Formative assessment in different parts of the lesson. Formative assessment may be integrated in all parts of the lesson, meaning it occurs all throughout the lesson. So, teacher, kung isa kang teacher na nalilito sa formative assessment, tanggalin mo na yung notion mo na, ay, before lang yan, during lang yan, after lang yan. No, kasi in reality, formative assessment, we can conduct it all throughout our instruction. Ngayon, teacher, eh, Teacher Jazz, paano yung gagawin ko dun sa question na nakita ko, sabi lang before, during, tas before and during. Yun yung mga choices. Letter A, before, letter B, during, letter C, after, tapos letter D, before and during. Eh di ang isagot mo, yung mas encompassing na choice, di ba? It's before and during. Pero kung makakita ka ng choice na before, during, and after, yun ang isagot mo sa formative assessment. Wag kang magsasagot ng isa lang, teacher. Kasi medyo, baka mamaya, mamali ka doon. Kasi if you only conduct it before, tapos merong letter B pa na during, tapos meron pang letter C na after, tapos yung letter D mo before and during, di ba? Actually, yung letters A to C, dyan talaga nangyayari yung formative assessment. Pero itong letter D, mas encompassing siya kasi hindi ka napipili ng isa lang. Yung letter A, B, C kasi, pinapipili ka isa lang eh. Pero itong letter D, before and during, or kahit before and after pa yan, sige, piliin mo yan. Kasi formative assessment, sabi na ng TOO, all parts of the lesson. Ngayon, Coach, ano ba yung formative assessment na yan? Eh, di ba, sabi mo kapag after the lesson, hindi ba yon summative assessment na? Kasi we have to record it. Di ba? Kasi nire-record na namin yon at ginegradean. Yes, teacher. Pag after lang talaga, as in after lang, yung tinutukoy, you're going to answer assessment of learning, summative assessment. But kapag sinabi na kasi ano bang pinagkaiba ng formative assessment sa summative assessment? Ang summative assessment kasi graded at the same time recorded. Pero ang formative assessment, you will give an activity, for example, but you will not grade it. Instead, you will just record it. Okay? So ang formative assessment kasi not graded, but can be recorded. Ang, eto yan ha, ang AOL kasi, or ang summative assessment, graded check, recorded check. Ano po yung mga summative assessment natin? Unit test, departmental test, long test, what else? Quarterly exams, di ba? Pero yung mga typical na activity na you don't grade at all, but you just record the scores. Parang pang-anecdotal na document mo lang or report mo lang just to get an insight on how your students are performing in your class via the quizzes, the mini quiz na 5/5, basta hindi mo siya ginrade tapos ni-record mo lang siya, tiningnan mo lang siya, you don't give any value to it aside from making it something that will give you more insights on how your students perform and how you can tailor your lessons to your students, edi it's formative assessment. So, wag malilito. Ulitin ni Teacher Jazz. Ang formative assessment, it occurs in all parts of the lesson. Kung After the lesson lang yan, you're going to answer summative assessment. Ngayon, kapag sinabi natin, Teacher Jess, ano pinakaiba ni formative assessment kay summative assessment? Kung nalilito ka doon, ang formative assessment not graded but recorded. But it can be recorded. At the same time, pwede mo rin naman siyang hindi na i-record. Depende na yun sa'yo, teacher. Basta ang criteria natin, hindi dapat siya graded. Ngayon, ang summative assessment, it should be graded and at the same time recorded. Okay? So, ayan, gets na teacher. Kaya yung mga formative assessment natin usually mga KWL charts, exit cards, what else? What else? Yung mga ipaparate mo or papaganyan-ganyan ka na symbol. Give me a thumbs up if you learn the lesson, rate 1 to 5, kung with 5 being the highest, 1 being the lowest, yung learning mo ngayon. What else? Yung mga mini activities mo dyan na you don't really grade but you record. Okay? So, ayan. Hopefully po gets na ang formative and also summative assessment. Pinagkaiba nila. At nalinawan na. Number six, teachers are encouraged to make use of authentic assessment, which goes with authentic assessment. Once again, we're talking about authentic assessment. Letter A, B, C, or D. Answer natin dito, teachers. Obviously, it is real-world application of lessons learned. Teacher Jess, ano yung decontextualized drills? Teachers, kung contextualized drills yan, pwede ka bang malito kasi both of them are right or are correct, di ba? In letter B at letter D. Kasi kung contextualized lang yan ha, both sila ay tama. Kasi you are making assessments that are anchored to the context, meaning in real context. Pero if meron na dyang de-contextualized, yung prefix na yan kasi ang ibig sabihin yan ay hindi in Filipino. Okay, so para mabilis nyo na lang siyang tandaan, basta yung ibig sabihin hindi. In the sense, okay? In this term, de-contextualize, hindi contextualize. So, ibig sabihin, hindi siya contextualize, meaning you are still adhering to the traditional testing methods or traditional assessment methods, which is the, of course, pen and paper. Okay? So, ayan. Seven, after reading and paraphrasing R. Frost's Stopping by the Woods on a snowy evening, Teacher M asked the class to share any insight derived from this poem. On which assumption about the learner is Teacher M's act of asking the class to share their insight based? Let's have number seven. Ang number seven, we have sharing their insight. So learners are meant to interact with one another. Pwede naman. Check natin yan kasi pwedeng sabihin mo sa akin na merong sharing factor. Sige, merong interaction kasi nga they have to share. Tama? Letter B, learners are like empty receptacles waiting to be filled up. Huy, hindi po ito. Mali. Kasi Teacher M looks at his or her students as people who have something to share. And when we are talking about empty receptacles, we are talking about the banking method. Banking method. That is frowned upon or ayaw na ayaw niya ni Paulo Freire. Okay? Ayaw na ayaw niya ni Paulo Freire. Bakit? Kasi nga, ang banking method, they treat or teachers treat learners as people who don't have anything in mind. Meaning, empty receptacle sila. Yung knowledge manggaling yan kay teachers. Kay teacher. Ibig sabihin, the traditional teacher-centered classrooms. Ganun yun. Okay? Yung walang, hindi nagla-lecture si teacher or wala talagang sinasabi, or hindi nagla-lecture si estudyante, hindi sila nagdi-discuss rather. So, mas appropriate term yun. Hindi sila nagdi-discuss, hindi sila nagsha-share. Teachers only do the talk and learners just listen. Kasi nga, pag empty receptacles, we're talking about learners being passive. Okay? And then, ayaw niya yan. Ayaw na ayaw yan ni Freire. Kasi nga, ito yung banking method. At anong meron kay Freire? Anong sabi niya? I don't really like itong empty receptacles na to. For example, bawa, ganun yung sinabi niya, for example. Pero hindi yun yung sinabi niya in reality, ha? Basta ganun lang yung notion niya. Ayoko nitong empty receptacles na to. So, anong kailangan? We treat students as active learners and at the same time, we treat students as someone who can give and also share something. Paano gagawin yon or paano natin matitreat yung mga teachers or learners rather? Paano natin sila makikita na ganon? So we really need to improve their capacity to engage in dialogue that will lead them to critical consciousness. Critical consciousness. Ayan. Your dialogue. Ayan, dialogue and also critical consciousness. Yan yung kailangan ng ating mga estudyante para naman makapag-participate sila, maging functioning members sila ng society. We really need to improve their dialogue skills and we really need to engage them in dialogue in order to improve their critical consciousness so that sooner or later they can be functioning members of the society or they can react, 'di ba, sa mga social problems. So again, through dialogue and critical consciousness, yan ang gusto ni Freire. Through dialogue and critical consciousness, matitreat natin yung learners as active learners. And again, empty receptacles, banking method. That's why letter B is not the correct answer. Letter C, learners have multiple intelligence. Ngayon, tanong ko sa'yo, teacher, ang multiple intelligence, meron bang tanong dito ng multiple intelligence? Wala naman, tama. Kasi usually, ang multiple intelligence, yung mga nasa STEM niyan, ang mga keywords na tatandaan mo, differentiated instruction, varied intelligences, individual differences, what else? Varied mga learning styles, ganun. Basta merong word na differentiated, variety, multiple, individual differences, they are usually associated to multiple intelligences. Okay? And then lastly, letter D, learners are producers of knowledge, not only passive recipients of information. So we can also check letter D. Between letter A at letter D, if you ask your students to share their insights, do you think you just ask them for the sake of interacting with one another or for the sake of producing knowledge? Of course, it's for the sake of producing knowledge. That's why it's letter D. Okay? 8. The progressivists emphasize the individuality of the child. What is the concern of the reconstructionists? Teacher, kung nalilito ka pa sa mga ism-ism na yan, dun sa previous video ko, sa Professional Education number 4 and also number 3. So ayan, pwede mo yung panoorin kasi tinakil natin dun. Sinimplihan lang natin yung atake ng explanation for the whole ism-ism. So balikan mo yun, punta ka sa channel ko, tapos tingnan mo yun. Okay? Basta, kung progressivism yan, of course, individuality. Ang laging tinatanong is, saan ba talaga yung learning by doing? Yung learning by doing concept. Saka saan ba talaga si John Dewey? Saan ba talaga yan? Sa progressivism ba yan or sa pragmatism? Saka ano ang pinagkaiba ng progressivism at pragmatism? So, anuhin natin to ha. Ayusin natin yung misconception nyo dito, lalo na kung nalilito kayo and also your confusion. Ayan, ayusin natin yung confusion natin dito. Ngayon, ang progressivism, bakit meron silang learning by doing at merong John Dewey dyan? Actually, pareho silang may ganyan ha. Sa progressivism ito at sa pragmatism. So, pareho yan. Pareho yung may learning by doing at John Dewey. Ngayon, Teacher Zaz, bakit ganon? Kasi ang progressivism, teacher, rooted yan sa pragmatism. Ang pinagmulan niya na concept talaga is pragmatism. Ngayon, ang pragmatism, mas focus siya sa practical skills. Although meron siyang learning by doing at meron din siyang John Dewey, ang mas focus niya is practical skills. And at the same time, yung progressivism naman, however, yung progressivism, although may learning by doing din yan at may John Dewey, ang mas focus niya ay yung individuality ng estudyante. Coach, ano ibig sabihin ng individuality? Yung interest ng estudyante, yung development at growth ng estudyante. Ulitin ni Teacher Jazz, pareho yung may learning by doing at may John Dewey. Bakit? Si progressivism rooted po yan kay pragmatism. Pero ang pragmatism, although may LBD yan at merong JD yan, di ba? Mas anchor siya sa practical skills. Okay? Pero ang progressivism, although may LBD dyan, at merong JD dyan, mas anchor siya sa interest ng estudyante, sa development, sa growth, and also sa individuality ng estudyante. Okay po? So can you comment got it sa comment section kung nag-gets nyo at nawala yung confusion nyo between progressivist and also, or progressivism and also pragmatism. Okay? And then yung reconstructionist naman, teachers, from the word itself, reconstruct, di ba? Ko-construct mo ulit. Well, what will you construct or what will you remediate? Ano kaya yung i-alleviate natin? Of course, it's letter C, social problem. Kasi ito designed for solving different social problems. Okay? Not for socialization, not for mere socialization, but for social problems itself. Okay? Number nine, which is one characteristic of an effective classroom management? Is it letter A, B, C, or D? Sabi dito, effective classroom management. So, hahanap ka lang ng something that can give you the best results. Okay? And so, obviously naman, answer natin dito is letter B. Kasi ang letter A, negative po yan, no? Dependence. Letter C, negative din yan, limited group. At yung letter D, anong nagpa-negative dyan? It's simple. Kasi the question here is if you will only implement simple strategies, how will you deal with students who have complex misbehavior? Okay? That's why letter D is not the answer. Okay? Letter B ang answer. Ngayon, itakal natin, simplify lang natin yung mga behavior management techniques. Other literature would say behavior management strategies, classroom management techniques, or classroom management strategies. Kahit ano pa man yan, alam kong familiar ka sa planned ignoring, reprimand, direct appeal, antiseptic bouncing, activity reinforcement. Alam kong familiar ka sa mga yan. Pero kung nakuha-confuse ka pa rin dyan at nahihirapan kang i-digest yung mga yan, let me tell you, teacher, na ginagawa mo na yan in reality, you just don't know the name. Kung nalilito ka dyan, simplihan lang natin. Bigyan kita ng explanation for each and also examples. So, tingnan mo to, ha? Tapusin mo tong video na to. Ngayon, redirecting tayo. Number one is redirecting. And this is my source po, ha? Ayan, nasa ibaba. Redirecting tayo. Pag sinabing redirecting, mabilis lang yan. Kung ang estudyante mo, ang example natin lagi, estudyanteng maingay at also malikot. Kasi yan naman yung mga estudyante natin na common, di ba, sa classroom. Ngayon, kung ang estudyante mo medyo maingay at naglilikot yan, gagawin mo, i-redirect mo lang yung attention niya to another task. Okay? Kung ang activity niya, naglilikot yan dyan, di ba, nag-iingay yan dyan, bigyan mo siya ng another task that is also related to the activity. Lagyan mo siya, bigyan mo siya ng another task. That's redirecting. Just redirect the attention of that student. Okay? Next one, planned ignoring. Medyo overwhelming yung tawag dito, yung term. Kasi may mga terms tayo na overwhelming, di ba? At first glance. Pero madali lang yan kasi ang planned ignoring, ibig lang niya sabihin, eto, ginagawa mo ta teacher for sure. Nakita mo yung estudyante mo, for example, nadaldal ng konti, nagbibigay ng konting side comment habang nagdi-discuss ka. Pero yung behavior niya na yon is low or mild lang. Ibig sabihin, hindi siya distracting and also hindi siya disruptive sa klase mo. For example, nagdadaldal lang siya ng konti, bigyan lang siya ng konting side comment about your lesson or nanghihiram lang siya ng eraser or ballpen sa kanyang katabi, 'di ba? Hindi lalagpasan mo na lang siya, hindi mo na lang siya pinapansin, although nakita mo siya. Okay? That is planned ignoring, intentionally ignoring, kasi nakaplano mo na siyang i-ignore kasi nakita mo na siya. Okay? Pero di mo lang siya pinansin, di mo kinol yung attention niya. Okay? Next one, signaling. This is also another favorite of teachers na lalong pagod na, for example, or mga teachers na pagod na, huling klase na, mga teacher na ayaw masira ang araw nila. Bakit? Ang signaling or signal interference, teacher, ibig lang nito sabihin you will be using nonverbal gestures to contain the misbehavior of your students. Signaling, signal interference example. Yung estudyante mo medyo maingay naglilikot, tititigan mo lang yan habang nagdi-discuss ka, pero hindi mo kinakat yung discussion mo. Nakatitig ka lang sa kanya. Tapos pag naka-eye to eye ka niya, di ba? Yung eye to eye na yon, that is the signal. Ibig nang sabihin, tumahimik ka na dyan, tumigil ka, I can see you. Tatahimik yung estudyante. Pipigil yan ng kalikutan niya. And then, the next favorite thing or favorite example of us, teachers, is kapag sobrang ingay ng klase, ang gagawin mo lang dyan is, di ba, yung nagko-cross ka lang ng arms dyan, tapos, amidst the discussion, in the middle of the discussion, magko-quiet ka lang dyan, you will just be silent. Hanggang sa maramdaman ka nila. That's a signal. 'Di ba? That is a signal. Signaling yan, no? Ayan, signaling. That's a signal. Tapos, makita mo yung mga magugulo mong mga estudyante na yan na ayaw makinig sa'yo, bigla lang yung makikinig sa'yo. Tahimik lang yan sa'yo. Kasi sabihin niya, tahimik na si ma'am, tahimik na si sir, nagagalit na si ma'am, nagagalit na si sir. Kasi nga, you're just quick. And then afterwards, you will ask them, ano, okay na, pwede na ako mag-proceed? Tapos proceed ka na ulit. That is signal interference. Okay po? Next, proximity control. From the word itself, proximity. You will just be using distance. Nakita mo yung naglilikot na estudyante mo habang nagdi-discuss ka, gala ka konti sa classroom, tayo ka sa tabi niya. That's it. Just make that student feel that you are there beside him or her. Tapos makita mo, oh, ayos na yan ang upo. Okay, that's proximity control. Next one, interest boosting. Just use something that is interesting for the students so that mabuboost yung interest nila. Kung ang nakita mo ang estudyante mo nag-iingay na amidst activity or naglilikot na yan, tapos tingnan mo kung gumagawa pa rin ba siya. If ever na hindi siya gumagawa, medyo i-praise mo lang yung gawa niya or halfway na tapos na siya, uy, very good, tapos ka na dyan, kita mo, babalik yan ulit. Or use something, for example, displaying genuine interest in a child's work or interest to help build a relationship, which in turn might increase the student's motivation to continue to work on the assignment. This is useful when a student's interest in a task is waning or when she is becoming restless. Ibig sabihin yan, pag, ayun nga, gumamit ka lang ng something that is interesting to them. That's why it's important for you to know the interest of your students. Next, use of humor. Ang use of humor natin, simple lang, magpapatawa ka lang kung bored na yung mga estudyante mo. Patawa ka lang dyan ng konti, but make sure na yung magiging subject ng pagpapatawa mo ay hindi estudyante mo din. Hindi sila magtatawa sa kaklase nila or anyone, di ba? Ang mahalaga dyan is you just use humor just to break the ice, okay? Next, hurdle help. Medyo overwhelming din yung term, pero simple lang yan. Kapag nakita mo yung estudyante mo, maingay na, naglilikot during activity, tapos hindi makatapos ng activity, imbes na pagalitan mo siya kagad, lapitan mo siya, tapos tanungin mo, nak, anong nangyayari? Hindi ko pa tapos. Tapos sasabihin niya sa'yo, Ma'am, sir, hindi ko po kasi ito maintindihan eh. Yun pala, kaya pala siya naglilikot or nag-iingay, nadaldal sa katabi kasi hindi niya matapos kasi hindi niya naiintindihan. Plus, nahihiya siya na i-reach out ka. So, ikaw na may reach out sa kanya, this becomes your platform or your avenue to help him or her. That is hurdle help. Okay? That is hurdle help. Next one, removing the seductive object or removing the object. Simple lang din, kapag nakita mo ang estudyante mo nagsa-cellphone amidst your discussion, sabihin mo sa kanya, or magparinig ka sa klase, yung mga cellphone nyo, tago nyo, or pwede mo rin naman siyang sabihan na tago mo yung phone mo or pwede mong kunin yung phone niya. Depende na sa'yo. Okay? Next tayo, teacher. Antiseptic bouncing. Another overwhelming term pero madali lang. Anti kasi or anti, ibig sabihin opposing. Tama? And then yung septic, this is related to the meaning of infectious. So, i-oppose mo yung infectious behavior through bouncing. Paano yon? Pag bounce kasi, di ba, tumatalbog, tapos bumabalik din. Talbog, bumabalik din. Ngayon, gagawin mo lang dito sa antiseptic bouncing, madali lang. Ang estudyante mong maingay, naglilikot, tawagin mo siya, utusan mo, nak, tanggalin mo siya dun mismo sa classroom ha. Nak, punta ka nga sa faculty. That is the first bounce. Nak, punta ka nga sa faculty. Kunin mo yung aking ganito. Tapos kapag nakapaglakad-lakad na yan, pagbalik niyan, medyo contained na yung misbehavior niyan. Yung ikalawang bounce is babalik na siya. Okay, gets? That is antiseptic bouncing. Kasi kapag hinayaan mo yung estudyante mo na yan, na nandyan lang yan sa tabi niyan, mahahawa yan. But you really need to oppose the infectious misbehavior of your student or behavior of your student through bouncing. Nak, punta ka sa faculty, first bounce, second bounce, pagbalik niya, okay na. That is antiseptic bouncing. Okay? Next tayo, teachers. Ito, we have other strategies or other techniques that we can use in behavior management. Contingent observation. Anong pinakaiba nito sa antiseptic bouncing? Ang contingent observation, teacher, i-isolate mo yung estudyante, pero hindi mo siya palalabasin ng classroom. Ito yung common na ilalayo mo lang siya ng upuan or ilalagay mo siya sa likuran, 'di ba? Just for him or her to observe the whole class. That is insight. Next one, activity reinforcement reward. Madali lang to. Ano to? Ibig sabihin, grandma rule or grandma's rule, grandma's rule or grandma's law. Ano to? Kapag may ginawang okay yung estudyante mo, rewardan mo. Next one, iMessage. Kausapin mo yung estudyante mo kapag sobrang misbehaving niya na talaga. Sabihin mo, Nak, pag ginagawa mo to, I feel ganto. Or I feel di ka nakikinig sa aking, alam mo yun, discussion. That's iMessage. Power of iMessage. Next one, contract. This is just an agreement. Quite taxing kasi gagawa ka pa talaga ng literal na kontrata at pwede itong signan ng parent. So, ayan, depende naman sa'yo if gusto mo din mag-contract, di ba? Next one is direct appeal. Ito, pinaka-ginagawa din natin to kapag pikon na pikon ka na sa isang estudyante, straight to the point, sasabihin mo lang, tawagin mo yung name niya, for example, Jose, tigil mo na yung ganyan-ganyan mo. Or, Nak, huwag ka mo na mag-ganyan-ganyan. Okay, huwag ka mo nang magdadaldal. For example, that is straight to the point. But, anong pinagkaiba niya kay reprimand, teacher? Anong pinagkaiba niya kay reprimand? Ang reprimand, ito talaga scolding. Pagalitan mo talaga siya. Pero ang direct appeal, ano lang to, yung parang mahinahon ka lang din, sabi mo lang, tigil niya yon, reprimand. Ngayon, if nasa isip nyo, Teacher Jazz, ano pinagkaiba ng direct appeal? Ay, call out ko din naman yun sa removing the seductive object. Kasi sa removing the seductive object, diba, Teacher Jazz, sabi mo, tawagin ko din siya, tapos tanggalin niya ipapatanggal ko sa kanya yung object. Ngayon, pinagkaiba ni direct appeal, si direct appeal, can apply to many misbehavior kahit walang object. Pero yung removing the seductive object or removing the object, kailangan may object. Okay? Pero kinu-call out, pareho mo silang kinu-call out. Gets? Ang pinakaiba ni direct appeal kay reprimand, si direct appeal, mahinahon ka pa rin, si reprimand, scolding na. So don't forget the different behavior management techniques or strategies. Okay po, teachers? Ayan siya. Next tayo. Number 10, to determine your pupils' entry knowledge and skills, which should you employ? Is it letter A, B, C, or D? Of course, it's retest. It's letter D. Kita mo naman yan, no? Your pupils' entry knowledge and also skills. 11 tayo, teachers. Mrs. Rivas is doing assessment of learning. O, ano kaya yung assessment of learning na yan? At what stage of instruction should she do it? O, di ba? We have this question. Of course, the stage of instruction, sinabi ni teacher just kanina, it's after. Okay, it's after. Number 12 tayo, teachers. The following concepts refer to the implications of the 21st century education for teachers, except one. Ano kaya yung hindi dyan kasama? Obviously, ang hindi dyan kasama is yung naglilimit lang sa isang strategy or isang technique. It's letter B. Teachers must be consistent in how they teach. Consistent in a sense na dapat may one strategy ka lang. But let me tell you, teacher, that 21st century education should not entail something or entail an implication like that. Okay? Kasi ang 21st century education should be flexible, and also differentiated. Differentiated. Bakit po? Kasi nga, ang 21st century natin is not anymore traditional method or traditional strategies na teacher-centered. We are a learner-centered instruction, or we have now a learner-centered education. Okay? Next number tayo, number 13, the 2019 pandemic forced the educational system to make curricular reforms so as not to enhance the spread of the COVID-19 virus, which approach in the teaching delivery should be avoided. So alam na alam mo to, teacher, kung ikaw ay kasama sa pandemic na mga nagkaklase at danas na danas natin yung hirap nito kasi this was the first time na nangyari sa atin to. 10 seconds. Answer natin dito, teachers, ay number 13, of course, is face-to-face learning. Kasi yung BCD ginawa yan during the COVID-19 virus. And so, or the COVID-19 pandemic. And so, yung something na kailangan natin i-avoid is F2F, okay? Or the face-to-face learning. Next. 14, whatever method the teacher utilizes in the implementation of curriculum, especially on learning experiences, there will be some guidelines for the selection and use of such experiences. The following are true, except you really need to find something that is false. Okay? So 10 seconds go. After reading the whole choices, ang pinaka-limiting dito is yung letter B. Single best teaching method. Imagine, in the 21st century, no, sa selection and use of our learning experiences, do we really need a single best teaching method? Actually, no, there's no such thing as single best teaching method kasi we have different individuals, 'di ba? We have different individuals to teach. We have different learners, and so there is no single best teaching method. Number 15, as an intellectual leader, which trait must a teacher display? Intellectual leader daw po, intellectual. Okay, ano kaya ang ginagamitan ng intellect natin dyan? It's letter. This is letter B. Ngayon, i-differentiate lang natin tong prejudice. Ito, lagi ko tong sinasama. Stereotype versus prejudice versus discrimination. Discrimination. So, ayan. Ang stereotype, teacher, ito lang yan. For example, yung isang section, tingin mo, ang gulo nila, ang ingay nila. Sabihin mo, ay, naku, ang gugulo naman ng mga section na yan. Basta section ganito, sobrang gugulo, sobrang hindi magagalang. Next one, ang prejudice is kapag sinabi mo na, nandito na yan sa damdamin mo, ayoko na sa section na to. Kasi ang gugulo nila, saka ang iingi nila. Ang hindi talaga sila magagalang, wala akong makitang maganda sa kanila. Ayoko sa kanila, ayoko yan turuan. At yung discrimination is kapag may ginagawa ka ng obvious action to discriminate them. Okay? As a teacher, dahil ayaw mo sa section na yon, may ginagawa ka ng obvious na talagang halatang halata naman, talagang manifested na siya in your behavior, talagang ayaw mo sa kanila. For example, sinusungitan mo yung mga section na yan, sinusungitan mo yung mga estudyante dyan, although hindi naman lahat sila magulo, di ba? Meron ka talagang mga estudyanteng sinusungitan na dyan. Again, ang stereotype, nandito lang yan sa isip. Ang prejudice, letter P, it's pakiramdam. Nararamdaman mo na siya kapag yung stereotype mo bumaba na dito, oh. Naramdaman mo na siya na ayaw mo na. It's prejudice. And once you exert effort to make your prejudice an action, di ba? An obvious behavior or a behavior itself, meaning, yun na yun, it's discrimination. Okay pa? So, ayan, gets na hopefully ang subtle differences ng tatlong terms. Next, you were expecting to be promoted, but you found out that a co-teacher who is less qualified got the promotion. What should you do? Is it letter A, B, C, or D? Sa number 16, ito yung question na posible kang malito kung hindi talaga itong sagot na to yung ginagawa mo. Kasi kung itong co-teacher mo na to ay yung co-teacher na kaaway mo in reality, 'di ba? Yung co-teacher mo na talaga namang ang yabang-yabang, ang hirap kausapin. Pero wala namang background na parang, alam mo yun, sa masters, for example, or wala siyang in advance kumpara sa'yo. For example, ikaw, nagtitake ka na ng masters, tapos ka na ng masters, nagpi-PhD ka na, pero hindi ikaw yung na-promote. 'Di ba? Yun yung ibig sabihin ng less qualified dyan. Ngayon, anong gagawin mo? Siyempre, sa sobrang pikon mo, if you will move at the height of your emotion, 'di ba? File a letter of resignation and find another job. Pagka hindi ko makausap ng matino itong mga to, hindi ko deserve magtrabaho dito, file na ako ng resignation. Or if isa ka namang palaban, di ba, confront mo yung teacher mo who was promoted kasi galit na galit ka na sa kanya eh. For example, siya yung kaaway mo. 'Di ba? Sa reality, ano gagawin mo? Bakit naman ikaw yung na ano, anong ginawa mo? Ganyan-ganyan. Bakit ikaw yung na-promote? Or, yung letter D, 'di ba? Send an anonymous letter of complaint to the superintendent. Sobra na tong structural inequality na to. Talagang mag-send ako ng anonymous letter sa DepEd superintendent. Anong mangyayari sa atin? Bahala na. Okay? So that's it, 'di ba? That's how you approach a certain scenario, for example. But, in professional education teacher, it doesn't talk about you being realistic and personal at the same time. Yes, it talks about being realistic, but it doesn't always talk about being personal at the same time. It doesn't inquire about your personal orientation, your personal ways, your personal attitude, yung mga attitude mo na yan. Hindi yan yung tinatanong in professional education. Ngayon, paano mo ito masasagutan kahit ginadji ka ng i-shade yung letter A, B, at letter D? Always, in professional education, approach the question with certain degree of professionalism. Lagi mong itatanong kapag nalilito ka na at galit na si self sa sarili mo talaga, yung gustong-gusto nang lumabas ng tunay na self mo na, mag-file ako ng resignation dyan, ayoko talaga ng mga ganitong structural inequality. 'Di ba? Sa ito may backer, tapos ako wala. Nagpapakirap ako pumasok tuwing Sabado, tapos ganito. So, ang gagawin mo dito, teacher, all you have to do is to unleash your inner professional self. Isipin mo ikaw yung teacher na super professional, talaga namang pinanunumpaan mo pa talaga at talagang sinasabuhay mo in your everyday life yung code of ethics. Ngayon, anong gagawin mo dito? In the most professional sense, in professional education, you really need to discuss the matter with your principal and inquire how you were rated. Okay? This is what we call professionalism. Kahit pikon ka na, you have to answer in the licensure examination for teachers the most professional answer. If you are torn between being realistic, you have to choose what is professional. And don't always let being realistic and personal at the same time guarantee you the correct answer. Okay? Kasi, again, in professional education, you can be realistic, but you can be personal, as in personal, na, anong, anong attitude ko itong gagawin ko? Okay? So, hindi ganun. So, you have to be realistic and professional at the same time. Okay? And then number 70 tayo, teachers. How will you check a narrative of a student that contains statements that are entirely opposite of the intended right values because he based it on his actual experience? Is it letter A, B, C, or D? Ang sabi dito, teacher, how will you check a narrative of a student that contains statements that are entirely opposite of the intended right values? Pagka-check mo, hindi mo inaasahan na makita ganito yung sagot niya. Eh, hindi naman ito yung values na tinuturo mo. Kasi, sinagot niya to kasi based to sa actual experience niya. Is it letter A? Analyze his reasons and try to redirect his values based on moral standards by sending him notes and talking with him personally about it. Uy, maganda. Ano sinabi ko sa inyo kanina, teacher? You have to be very professional. So, pero suspend muna natin yung judgment natin dyan. Suspend muna natin yung judgment, teacher, kasi baka mamaya may mas maganda pa na at mas professional pa na option. Letter B, he has to support and justify his argument with strong theoretical basis. The question is, pahirapan mo pa yung estudyante, eh, hindi mo naman talagang gusto yung essay na pinalabas niya or yung essay na sinulat niya. Kasi nga, it is not, alam mo yon, aligned to the intended right values. So, pahirapan mo ba siya? No, wag na yan. Letter B, X na natin yan. Eh, hindi ka rin naman maniniwala eh. Kapag binigyan ka niya ng theoretical basis, tama. Kasi nga, hindi naman yan yung intended right values. Wala yan sa competency. Letter C, you give him low grades for showing his inability to master the competency intended for values education as an effective base discipline. Do you think this is proper? Do you think this is professional? Siguro, if it is not based on his actual experience, you can select this one. Pero teacher, kasi may pinanghuhugutan yung estudyante mo eh. And as a values ed teacher, di ba? You value experiences and at the same time values. Values coming from the experience. Ngayon, ang problema lang, hindi siya tumugma. Yung experience niya, yung values na nakuha niya from the experience, instead of positive values, naging negative values, at hindi siya tumugma sa intended right values. My question is, yung experience niya, bibigyan mo siya ng low grade? Kasi pag binigyan mo siya ng low grade, parang you denied that experience. And what if that experience really made him who he is today? Or that experience is very significant to him? What if it's a trauma or anything? 'Di ba? Can you blame that student for that? Can you actually put and assign low numbers to that? So, X din to. Tama? So, ano kaya yung better way natin? Letter D, you cannot question his life experience. O, totoo naman. Tama? Hindi mo talaga pwedeng questionin yung life experience na yan. Buhay ko to, nangyari to sa akin. Therefore, just focus on grammatical structure and style instead. Ano nagpamali dito? Grammatical structure and style. Eh, ang sabi dito, intended right values. You are not an English teacher. Even if you are an English teacher and you're teaching a competency that is or that contains an intended right value, siguro hindi ka naman or hindi mo pababayaan yung life experience ng estudyante. Hindi mo pababayaan yung estudyante na mag-go by na lang sa buhay niya nang ganon yung life experience niya o nang ganon yung pagtingin niya sa life experience niya, nang ganon yung values na nakuha niya sa experience niya. Instead of just focusing on grammatical structure and style, di ba? You really need to Letter A. So tama tayo sa letter A. Analyze his reasons and try to redirect his values based on moral standards by sending him notes and talking with him personally about it. Kasi dito ka na magpapakaguro. Tandaan mo, ang guro, we have a lot of roles as a teacher. We just don't teach, we just don't instruct, we just don't give assessment. We relate to the students. And that is another tip for you to answer effectively professional education. Question. Teachers are not only instructors. Teachers are well-rounded individuals or all around yan talaga that are flexible or who are flexible enough to deal with different students. That's why 17 letter A is our answer. Next. Obvious siya, 'di ba? Yun na yan yung answer pero kayang-kaya mo naman yung sagutan pero we really need to, alam mo yon, differentiate kung ano ba talaga at paano natin nakuha yun. Lalo na sa mga teacher na nalilito dito. Okay? 18. Owing to more flexible instructions such as through group discussion and role playing, how can seating arrangement be done? Obvious question once again, obvious answer. How can seating arrangement be done? Group discussion. Group discussion. Kasi kapag nag-discuss tayo versus lecture, kapag lecture kasi, this is just one way. Okay? Lecture is just one way, teacher. For example, teacher to student. For example, kami, lecturer. Almost one way lang kami. Kasi you watch our videos, you listen to us, that's lecture. But in discussion, it's two-way. Okay? This is a two-way communication, and so you have to share what you know. So discussion, if you will be engaging in a discussion, you need movable chair arrangement. So kailangan mo yung mamumove mo yung chair mo. Lipat ka dito sa group na to, lipat ka sa group na to share. Okay? Next, number 19 tayo. The teacher instills in the students the Filipino value of respect for the elderly, which is shown through the provision of spaces in the building, granting of discount privileges, and prioritizing them in the grocery stores and LRT stations. What literacy is being implied? Ang literacy that is being implied here is letter A. So wala naman po sanang nagsagot or hopefully hindi mo sinagot yung letter C at letter D kasi obviously wala namang media dyan at wala din namang culture dyan. So pwede mo sabihin sa akin, kung sinagot mo yung multicultural, maaari mo sabihin sa akin na, Teacher Jazz, may culture kasi, di ba Filipino culture, Filipino value. Yes, may culture dyan, pero do you think it's multicultural, like multicultural, maraming culture? Usually kasi ang mga tanong dito, laging may diversity ng culture, ng tradisyon. Laging may diversity dyan. Okay? Yung letter C naman, media, obviously, wala naman yan. Ang letter B, baka malito ka lang dito between letter A at letter B kasi kung letter B ang sagot mo dyan, teacher, pinag-focusan mo yung granting of discount privileges. But is that really what the question is looking for? Or is that really what this phrase talks about? No. Kasi yung discount mismo, yun ang letter B. But if you grant someone privilege, di ba? Discount privileges, granting someone privileges, then it's letter A. Okay, it's letter A, social. So hopefully wala pong nalito sa number 19. If ever nalito ka, that's the explanation for you. The last number, 20. Which of the following choices is considered social force that affects the school and the curriculum? Hanap ka lang na may social force dyan. This is letter A, changes in gender roles. Bakit po? Ang nature of knowledge, teacher, tanong ko sa'yo, social force? Wala. Learner style, social force? Wala. Learner's characteristics? May social force? Wala rin po. Changes in gender roles lang ang meron. Kasi ang gender daw po is a social construct. Okay? That's why it's a social force. So that's it for the 20 item professional education coaching. And by the way, before tayo mag-end, Again, I'm inviting you to join our Sulit Profit and Janet online let review. The details are in the description box. Click mo lang yung link na nandyan or the comment section, the pinned comment one. Okay, click mo lang yung link na nandyan. And again, ano makukuha nyo dito? Of course, we're going to improve your test-taking techniques, especially on how you answer questions that you are confused with or questions that you totally don't know. Lusutan natin yan para naman on the day of the licensure exam, talagang kahit hindi ka sure sa sagot mo, masaya kang lalabas ng testing center kasi alam mong nasagutan mo siya. And there is at least a 70%, 80% tingin mo, tama ka sa sagot mo. Okay po? So, and ito, by the way, lagi ko sinasabi, lagi itong engraved sa mga videos ko, do something today that your future self will thank you for. Yourself today ay pasasalamatan ng future self mo na nakakuha na ng lisensya. Thank you for persevering today. Thank you for reviewing. Thank you for watching this video. Bye bye, everyone.